Shalom, Most High in Christ bless. We're going to start with this question. It's a good question. It's Revelation chapter 1, verse 18. All right. Before Christ, did Satan ever have the power of death? Of death. Yes, he was given that power. How do we know?
The book of Job, chapter 1, verse 9. Then Satan answered the Lord and said, doth Job fear God for naught? Hast thou not made an hedge about him and about his house and about all that he hath on every side? Thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land. But put forth thine hand now.
That means give the order, give the command. Go ahead.
And touch all that he hath.
And touch all that he hath. Go ahead.
And he will curse thee to thy face.
And he will curse thee to your face. So what this is talking about is cursings, that the devil having power to curse, take away all his substance. He's rich, so why would he complain? Why wouldn't he believe in God? Why wouldn't he worship the Lord? He's rich, he's wealthy, right? But watch this, read on.
And the Lord said unto Satan, behold, all that he hath is in thy power. Only upon himself put not forth thine hand.
That's why in Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 39, it says that he killed and he make alive. Let's get that real fast. So that as we read in Job, the power that Satan has, we also understand that it comes from and it's not above the power of God.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32, verse 39.
Come on.
See now that I, even I, am he, and there is no God with me. I kill.
This is the God that Satan answers to, and there is no God with him. Him and Satan are not up in heaven fighting, pitter pattering, back and forth, arguing. That's Christianity. That's Greek mythology. There's no a fight between God and and Satan. That's not happening. Go ahead.
I kill and I make alive.
He says he kills and he makes alive. Come on.
I wound and I heal.
He wounds and he's the one that gives the healing, that authorizes the healing. Go ahead.
Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand.
And once you're marked, there is nothing no one can do to save you from that. Come on. Was that it? Yes, sir. All right, let's go back to Job.
Job chapter 1, verse 12. And the Lord said unto Satan.
So we were in 9. First, he gave Satan the authorization to curse or to touch and take away all Job's wealth. Now we're in verse 12, and we're going to read about how that progressed to death or to touching Job himself. Come on.
Verse 12, and the Lord said unto Satan, behold, all that he hath is in thy power. Only upon himself put not forth thine hand.
So here, he was not given the authorization to touch Job. Come on.
So Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord.
With his order, with his authorization. Come on.
Verse 13, and there was a day when his sons and his daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. And there came a messenger unto Job and said, the oxen were plowing and the asses feeding beside them.
Let's just jump down to where it gives him the power to touch Job. 2 and 6.
Okay. Yeah. The book of Job, chapter 2, verse 6. And the Lord said unto Satan, behold, he is in thine hand, but save his life.
Right. So he says you can touch him, right? But you cannot take his life. You cannot take his life. And from the first conversation they had in chapter 1, Job wanted to kill him off the bat. That's what he wanted to happen. Satan wanted to kill Job right off the bat. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 7. So went Satan forth from the presence of the Lord and smote Job with sore boils from the sole of his foot unto his crown.
So he was also given authorization to wound Job. Right? Come on.
Verse 8. And he took him a potsherd to scrape himself withal, and he sat down among the ashes. Then said his wife unto him, dost thou still retain thine integrity? Curse God and die.
That's that woman. That's that woman. She always be the device to have you to get you. The woman will always be the device of Satan. That's the battle of the woman. That's the struggle of a woman. That's the curse of a woman. Maybe I said something extreme. Get John 8:32. Get John 8:32. Let's see what Jesus the Christ said. Let's see what he said. Let's find out.
The book of John, chapter 8, verse 32. And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
Now jump down. Sisters, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Let's jump down to verse 34.
Verse 34. Jesus answered them, verily, verily, I say unto you.
Verily, verily. Understand, hear this plainly and clearly. Come on.
Whosoever committeth sin.
Whosoever committeth sin.
Is the servant of sin.
Becomes the servant of sin, which is Satan. Whosoever committeth sin, as Eve did, that is now and forever, until you are redeemed, until you have found faithful and true when the Messiah returns. That will be your plague. That will be what you have to battle with, sister. All right. Was that it on that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Go back.
The book of Job.
I had to touch that just in case that was controversial. All right, go ahead.
The book of Job, chapter 2, verse 10. But he said unto her, thou speakest as one of the foolish women speaketh.
Come on.
What? Shall we receive good at the hand of God?
Who did he say? Good at the hand of who?
God.
Of God. Job, being a faithful, wise man, he understood that his sickness or his wealth came from God. Read on.
And shall we not receive evil?
He understood also his sickness, the destruction of his family came from God. Go ahead.
In all this did not Job sin with his lips?
Right. Meaning charge God foolishly, blame God as though he had not sinned, as though he was on the level of God. Right. Let's go back to where we was. No. Oh yeah, we still okay. So let's get Psalms chapter 16. Psalms chapter 16. So as far as when Christ came, what he conquered death, right? And this is an account of that. Let's get, I think 16 and
start
8. Yeah. Watch this.
The book of Psalms, chapter 16, verse 8. I have set the Lord always before me, because he is at my right hand.
Come on.
I shall not be moved. Therefore my heart is glad, and my glory rejoiceth. My flesh also shall rest in hope.
You see that? This is why the scriptures say, happy is the man. What did it say? Happy is the man that knoweth how to please the Lord. Like we read in Baruch chapter 4, verse 4. This is why it says that. We have hope. We understand that death is not a mystery, is not confusing, we understand that death is not the end. We understand that we have the wisdom to attain a higher purpose, even in this present day. We understand that. And that's our hope. That's our joy. That's our happiness. Go ahead.
Verse 10, for thou wilt not leave my soul in hell.
Come on.
Neither wilt thou suffer thine Holy One to see corruption.
And the Holy One is Christ. When Christ came, he died on the cross. The Father in heaven did what? He rose him from the dead. He rose him from the dead. Why? Go back up to verse 8.
Verse 8. I have set the Lord always before me.
That's what our Lord did. He was found perfect. He was found worthy, and he was risen from the dead by the Father. Go ahead.
Because he is at my right hand. I shall not be moved. Therefore my heart is glad, and my glory rejoiceth. My flesh also shall rest in hope. For thou wilt not leave my soul in hell, neither wilt thou suffer.
And that hell there is going into what? Somebody help me out.
Shalom, leadership.
Shalom.
The condition that he was in.
That's one. You're not wrong. That's one. I want all of them.
The grave.
That's two. Give me another one.
The fire. Destruction.
Exactly. Now let's prove some of that, right? Let's prove some of that. Let's start with Isaiah 5:13. We'll start there. Isaiah 5:13.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 5, verse 13. Therefore, my people are gone into captivity because they have no knowledge.
So it says, my people are gone into captivity, meaning, or like Brother Zarak said, it's a condition, right? Hell, yeah, that's one phase or one state of hell, captivity, right? So he says, therefore, my people are gone into captivity because they have no knowledge. Come on.
And their honorable men are famished.
No one to teach them or stand up for the people, rise up for God against evil. Come on.
And their multitude dried up with thirst.
So the people that they're supposed to be teaching and giving water or wisdom to, the flock that they're supposed to be feeding, they're too weak to feed. So the people, the congregation of Israel, the house of Israel, the children of God are famished. They dried up. Come on.
Therefore, hell hath enlarged herself.
Because nobody knows how to repent. Nobody knows the iniquity they're in. Nobody knows what sin is anymore. Therefore, read it again. Therefore,
Hell hath enlarged herself.
Therefore, hell hath enlarged itself. So now we die. Now we die continuously. We were meant to live forever. We were not created to die. We were created to live forever. But now we die. Now we die. Now we're in captivity, after captivity, like Zarak said, a condition. That condition he was speaking of is captivity. After captivity, after captivity, after captivity. It says, therefore
hell hath enlarged herself and opened her mouth without measure.
That means that we gonna be going through this as long as it be that we don't want to keep the commandments of God. Hell hath enlarged itself and opened her mouth without measure. Without measure. Come on.
And their glory and their multitude and their pomp. And he that rejoiceth shall descend into it.
And he that rejoiceth, he that think that it's sweet, he that celebrates the destruction of his people, he that don't care about the destruction of his people, shall go into it. Into that hell. Come on, was that it on that? All right. So that was a good question. Let's see. Do we want to go further on this? Let me see. Before Christ, did Satan ever have the power of death? Or did God ultimately hold that power for his son? Yes, God still holds that power. God still holds that power. Christ has the authority of God in that. All right. Or when he comes back, you'll have the authority of God in that. Like Christ wasn't risen of himself from the dead. God rose Christ from the dead. Let me find that.
The book of 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 21. Who by him do believe in God, that raised him up from the dead and gave him glory, that your faith and hope might be in God.
That's why Christ in Matthew chapter 15, he told the young man, he said, don't call me good, right? He gave all praise and glory and honor to who? The Father. The Father, who's greater than Christ, right? So the answer to the second part of your question, or did God ultimately hold the power for his son? Yes, God held the power for his son. That you find that in the two scriptures that we produce, 1 Peter 1:21 and Psalm chapter 16, verse 8 through 10, I think. Through 11, 8 through 11. You got another one? Come on with it.
Get John chapter 10, verse 18.
The book of John chapter 10, verse 18. No man taketh it from me, but I lay it down of myself.
Right. So Christ is talking about his life here, right? Can you jump to verse 17? Up one verse, please.
Verse 17. Therefore doth my Father love me, because I laid down my life, that I might take it again.
That's the context. Read on.
No man taketh it from me, but I lay it down myself.
Come on.
I have power to lay it down, and I have power to take it again.
So where did he get this power from? Read on.
This commandment have I received of my Father.
He got the power from his Father right there. All right.
All praise to the Most High. So I pray that is thoroughly understood. If you are here. All right. And that's a really good question. Excellent question. All right. Numbers chapter 10, verse 29 through 31. What kind of help was Moses getting from Hobab that he didn't want him to leave? And verse 31, what did he mean, and thou mayest be to us instead of eyes? Let's get it.
The book of Numbers, chapter 10, verse 31. And he said, leave us not, I pray thee, for as much as thou knowest how we are to encamp in the wilderness, and thou mayest be to us instead of eyes.
All right. So when you go up to, let's see, let me see. Read verse 3 is the context, or 2. Start at verse 2.
The book of Numbers, chapter 10, verse 2. Make thee 2 trumpets of silver. Of a whole piece shalt thou make them, and that thou mayest use them for the calling of the assembly.
Come on.
And for the journeying of the camps. And when they shall blow with them, all the assembly shall assemble themselves to thee at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation.
All right, come on.
And if they blow but one trumpet, then the princes, which are heads of the thousands of Israel, shall gather themselves unto thee. When ye blow an alarm, then the camps that lie on the east parts shall go forward. When ye blow an alarm the second time, then the camps that lie on the south side shall take their journey. Then shall blow an alarm. They shall blow an alarm for their journeys.
All right. So what's the alarm for the journeys going into? It's really simple. We just read it. I'm just trying to give you the backdrop, the scenery. Jeremiah.
Shalom, leadership. You blew the alarm to signal them moving forward.
To gather them together so that they can move.
Right.
Right? The order. Okay, go ahead.
Verse 7. But when the congregation is to be gathered together, ye shall blow, but ye shall not sound an alarm. And the sons of Aaron, the priests, shall blow with the trumpets.
Watch this.
And they shall be to you for an ordinance forever throughout your generations.
Some more.
And if ye go to war in your land
And if you do what?
And if ye go to war in your land against the enemy that oppresseth you, then ye shall blow an alarm with the trumpets, and ye shall remember before the Lord your God, and ye shall be saved from your enemies. And in the day of gladness, of your gladness, and in your solemn days, and in the beginnings of your months, ye shall blow with the trumpets over your burnt offerings, and over the sacrifices of your peace offerings, that they may be to you for a memorial before God. I am the Lord your God.
All right. So what's happening is the ordering. Everything. The book of Numbers is about the ordering of the nation of Israel. So what we're reading about here is the journeyings, the war, certain category, like us coming together. How do you move? We came out, 600,000? I can't remember the number. It was 600,000, right? It was 600,000. We came out. How do you organize them, get them ready to move? That wasn't just, hey, let's go. That wasn't like talking here, right? There wasn't no microphones and none of that, right? So what you're reading about is the ordering and structuring of Israel and its movements in order, right? Now let's go back to Midian.
The book of Exodus, chapter 18, verse 17. And Moses' father-in-law said unto him, the thing that thou doest is not good. Thou wilt surely wear away.
So what he's talking about that he will wear away from is dealing with the people. Remember what we read about in Numbers. What do we read about in Numbers? We went there just now. Did we not all just go back to that time? We did, right? So what's happening? What were we reading about in Numbers chapter 10?
The ordering of, the nation as we would try to, move forward and get through the wilderness.
Right. And it's not, we just read some of it. Now you brought up war also. Right. How do you gather all the people for war? Because if you're scattered, if your armies or your forces are scattered, I don't matter how many it is, if you're scattered and not together and understanding and able to communicate the same order and the same structure, that's a losing battle. Right. You lost, right? So what we illustrated was, or what the scriptures is illustrating is the magnitude of that task. Now you're hearing Jethro say, listen, it's not good for you, Moses. You're going to wither away, man. This is going to stress you the hell out. You trying to do this by yourself. Right? It's important that you understand the narrative or the backdrop in Numbers to get why it was that Moses is saying, listen, don't go. Don't leave. We need laborers, right? All right. Go ahead. Okay.
Exodus chapter 18, verse 18. Thou wilt surely wear away both thou and this people that is with thee.
Right, because how you supposed to deal with all this people is what Jethro is saying. Go ahead.
For this thing is too heavy for thee. Thou art not able to perform it thyself alone.
Thyself alone. Go ahead.
Hearken now unto my voice. I will give thee counsel, and God shall be with thee. Be thou for the people to Godward, that thou mayest bring the causes unto God.
So what he's telling Moses, you be to the people unto Godward. So meaning whatever you get, whatever's delivered up to you, Moses, you just deal with the office of dealing with God. You bring in the prayers. That's what you're doing. You dealing with the not with all the people, but you dealing with God, and you're only dealing with the leaders, not all the people, right? So we'll bring to you, Moses, what's going on with the people, and you bring to the Most High what we bring to you. All right. What is that called? Order. All right. Come on.
Verse 20. And thou shalt teach them ordinances and laws.
Come on.
And shalt show them the way wherein they must walk.
Wow. Come on.
And the work that they must do.
What is he talking about here? Order, rank, structure. That's the work they must do. And the order, what does it say? And the ordinance that they must walk. That's what it's talking about. Right? So read on a little bit more, and then we're going to get to the meat of it. Come on.
Verse 21. Moreover, thou shalt provide out of all of the people able men, such as fear God, men of truth.
Come on.
Hating covetousness.
Come on.
And place such over them to be rulers of thousands and rulers of hundreds, rulers of 50s and rulers of 10s. And let them judge the people at all seasons.
Now they're going to judge the people. They're going to judge the people. Moses, you deal with the Most High, right? We'll deal with you, and the people will deal with us. Rank, order, structure. Let's go back to Numbers chapter 10. Now we got a backdrop, right? Right? Okay, all praise. So now this is Jethro's son, right? Yes, sir.
The book of Numbers, chapter 10, verse 29. And Moses said unto Hobab, the son of Raguel, the Midianite, Moses his father-in-law, we are journeying unto the place of which the Lord said, I will give it you. Come thou with us.
So he's saying, now remember what all has to happen when they're moving. Come on, nobody understands what has to happen. We blow trumpets in here. Is it the same thing? No. Come on, Benji, bring it home for us. Help us out. Redeem him. He might be Benjamite. He might be. Let's see what you got.
What has to happen is the order and structure.
Right. And that's not a small thing. Just when we came out from Egypt alone, it was over 600,000. It was 600,000 of us. So this is in the process of time. By the time we get to Numbers, surely it was more than that. So how do you order all this people, structure all this people, right?
Oh, with the order and counsel that his father-in-law gave him.
Exactly. So someone has to maintain that. That's why when brothers bug out, lose their rank, that's why you might find that your leader is mad as hell with you. You're like, damn, why are you so... I'm the one that's in. Like, I'm the one that got to pay for it. Yeah, but it's work to be done. It's work to be done. All right? Come on. Now, I'm not saying he's losing his rank here. I'm not saying that. All right? But Moses understands the mission. He understands this thing requires laborers. Come on.
Come thou with us.
Say, come now with us, man. Come on.
And we will do thee good. For the Lord hath spoken good concerning Israel. And he said unto him, I will not go, but I will depart to mine own land and to my kindred. Verse 31, and he said, leave us not, I pray thee, for as much as thou knowest how we are to encamp in the wilderness.
So for as much as thou knowest, meaning you understand how to structure this thing, how to order it, how to organize it. Come on.
And thou mayest be unto us.
You may be unto the Israelites, unto our kindred, right? Come on.
Instead of eyes.
Instead of eyes, right? Meaning wisdom. He's able to see things spiritually. He's able to use wisdom and understand more than what the eyes can see. That's what Moses is telling them. All right. So I pray that you got some resolve. Is that it on that? Yes, sir. All right. So I pray that you got some resolve from whoever asked this, if you're here today. All right. Good question, though. Excellent question. But you got to understand, especially when you're dealing in the first 5 books, got to understand the history. God, because one thing might be like, what does that mean? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what they're talking about. So you got to understand the backdrop, the narrative, the history to it. All right. Are the people of the Philippines Israel? Some of them. So in short, you're gonna try to find me the history. Okay. So what happened during the time of chattel slavery is a lot of our people of the Northern Kingdom were shipped to the Philippines. A lot of the islands were used as, they call it forts now, but they were used as banks, right? Nowadays you'll see, it's Fort Sumter or Fort, what's the one on the Monroe, Fort Monroe? That was a slave bank. That's what that was. It wasn't called a fort back then. The fort was one of the positions it held. That's like, if it's a cop standing in front of a building, you don't say that's a cop building. That's just where his position. So a fort was just a position or a sanctuary for the bank. The bank were the souls of slaves, the souls of men, as we read in Revelations. All right. And those were mainly in the islands. So when, especially during what was it called? The abolition of the slave trade. All right. When that was done away with, a lot of people were still doing it. A lot of Edomites were still doing it, and they would have territory on these islands, right? And that's where they would hold the slaves. That was the money back then. So you would buy slaves, and they say, okay, we send in a ship to bring you your 100 slaves. They'll be delivered by this time. Boom, 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 like that. All right. But that's what's going on. That's what happened in the Philippines. So a lot of our brothers and sisters are in the Philippines. That's why watch this. What do you think the most popular last name in the Philippines is? I bet it's a Hernandez or Velasquez. Watch this. Hold on. What is the most popular last name in the Philippines? Dela Cruz. Garcia is the number 2. Reyes, number 3. Ramos, number 4. That's mainly our people. But we know that Japheth shall inhabit the isles. So that's the other people. That's not us over there. But by way of slavery and the curses and us being scattered, most of us is over there. All right. That's that history. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, pull up that Wikipedia. So you could find some books and all that to get more history on it, but this says history of Spanish slavery in the Philippines. So when you look at the slave routes, they would leave Spain in the same places that they would drop off or pick up slaves and deal with them. Northern Kingdom and Central and Southern America, those same ships went over to the Philippines. So I'm going to show you No, I was agreeing. I'm going to show you the map. Scroll down. See that right there? See if you can click on that map right there. So this is a map. So you see they would leave from Spain up there at the top. I get where it says like Lisbon and Seville. Mm-hmm. They would come down there, hit South America. Those same ships were traveling down past the southern coast of Africa, all the way past India. We got people over there in India.
Right.
all the way into those islands over there. I think that area in Malacca and all. I think the Philippines are up in that area.
Right. So go up. No, back down right there.
And you see Nagasaki up there too.
You're on top of it. Yep, Nagasaki, Japan. Yep. Right around there. I believe that's the Philippines, right? So yeah, all of that is mainly our people. We are the majority all over the world. Don't be deceived. All right. That's why that Edomite went up in there and shot them people in Buffalo. That was his manifesto. He's scared as hell. He done the research. He like, nah, they ain't the minority. They is not the minority. And something got to give. That's why he did that. All right. And he didn't do that thinking that would kill us, because his research showed it is no way of eradicating them. What his research showed him was our people need a wake up call, and that's what that was. That was a wake up call for his people. All right. All right. All praise. Okay. It's a lot of questions on this one thing. It says, it seems their history seems strong in resemblance to Deuteronomy 28 curses. No, it don't. Yeah, our people on ships. Our people are there, but the Philippines' history is not our history, and it don't resemble. And that's why they have their own army. All right. But I get what you're saying. I just have to make that plain. You know what I'm saying? Don't be fighting for no doggone Filipinos. How would you marry during the time of Jacob trial, fleeing, etc.? Lawfully. Quick, but I can't say that. All right. Please explain what is meant. Let me take this serious. All right. So how would you marry during the time of Jacob's trial? You won't marry. Let's get that. Let's go to 2 Ezra 16. It won't be marrying then. Right now is the last shot you got. This present time, probably within the next 2 years, 3 years. It's probably about as long as you got. Not sure why that's funny to him. Single people like, what the hell?
He laughing because he got a date set already.
Oh. Hey, stay in the spirit, man. Sister's gonna whoop your ass outside. It's some single brothers too. Yeah, and they all behind you. You gotta be wise. But yeah, let's read that. 2 Ezra chapter 16. It's at the end. It's near the end. Let me find it. Yep. That cruising. You know what a lot of people do? I get a lot of reports. I was reading a report before I was coming in here. I'm sitting in my truck and I'm reading a report. But a lot of people deal with proving like you dealt with boyfriend and girlfriend in the world. That's just your girlfriend. That's just your boyfriend. A lot of people in the truth deals with that operation like that. Like, for instance, everybody finds some stupid got babies in here, some stupid stuff to say about each other while proving. Complaining to leadership. Yeah, I don't like, let me see. I told him that I don't make, I'm allergic to coconut and unleavened bread, but he like it. But I told him, okay, what, that's your complaint? Like, that's not a complaint. That's not a complaint. Proving, what you're proving is this man or woman for the Lord or the streets? That's what you're proving. Are they faithful to the Most High? How do you prove a woman is faithful to the Most High? What is she doing in the body? Let me look for that. But most of the relationships improving go awry because brothers and sisters looking for the wrong shit. They don't, in the Lord. I met him inside with fringes on. We both have fringes on. So I ain't that's what you're proving. And that's going to be real clear in the next few years. Trust you me, you ain't gonna give a damn about what you don't like in comparison to what he like, or vice versa. 16 and
Second Ezra chapter 16, verse 32.
come on.
And the earth shall be laid waste, and the fields thereof shall wax old, and her ways and all her paths shall grow full of thorns.
And what this is talking about is what you're talking about here in, I quote, Jacob's trial. Jacob's trial. All right. Ain't gonna be no more work. You going to your job and all that. Your job is look. That's right. Survival. Ain't no 911 to call. They try and do the same thing as you. Find something to eat. Right? Go ahead.
Because no man shall travel there through.
Come on.
The virgin
Ain't gonna be no the city of Norfolk is trimming the grass and setting up the Christmas lights when it get time for the year for that. All that stuff is going bye-bye. It's all going away. Come on.
The virgin shall mourn.
The virgin shall mourn. The young lady shall mourn. Come on.
Having no bridegrooms.
Having no bridegrooms. It ain't gonna be no men. Why? Most of them will be killed. Most of them will be killed, or not. I ain't gonna say most of them will be killed. A lot of them will be killed, and a lot of them are already what? Married. Come on.
The women shall mourn.
The women shall mourn now. Come on.
Having no husband.
Having no husband. Why? Go ahead.
Their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers.
Okay, so the women are gonna mourn having no husbands because a lot of men. It's gonna say it next. Okay, read on.
Verse 34. In the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed.
In the wars, the draft is going to come back. There's going to be a lot of things to try Israel, to prove Israel who you are, what you are, how you are. Do you believe? And the same thing, right, is going to try the woman. It's going to try the woman. All right, come on.
And their husbands
shall
perish of famine.
And the ones that ain't drafted, ain't killed in the wars will die of famine. Go ahead.
Hear now these things and understand them.
Hear them now while these things ain't going on, and understand them. Come on.
Ye servants of the Lord.
Notice it says ye servants of the Lord. Because everybody can read this. Everybody can read this, just like everybody knew flee Jerusalem. You on the inside, get out. You on the outside, don't come in. Did not Christ say that? So why is y'all eating your babies? They didn't listen. They were not servants of the Lord. That's what happened. So as for how would you marry during the time of Jacob's trial, you wouldn't. That's not how that will work. That's not how that will work. All right. Not quote unquote Mary. Not quote unquote Mary. I'm gonna leave that there. All right. Let's see. Please explain what is meant by 1 Thessalonians 5:17. First Thess 5:17.
The book of 1 Thessalonians, chapter 5, verse 17. Pray without ceasing.
That well, if you ain't here, can you raise your hand? Did you ask this question? Anybody in here ask this question? All right. So I take it that in its entirety is what you're talking about. Well, oh, this is absolutely a sister. They said, okay, let me read the rest. I thought that was two part. Okay, please explain what is meant by 1 Thessalonians 5:17. If constantly in prayer mindset, should my head always be covered? Hell yes. Yes. Because guess what? You're not always praying. You're not always praying. All right. So, what it's talking about is when you can pray, right? For, I'm gonna leave that there. All right. Because most of y'all in here ain't married. So I'm gonna leave that there. But it's definitely times when you're not praying. All right. Shit. All right. I can't read that at all. So like no part of it. If you can read that. Go ahead. What does it say?
All right, question. In this truth, which is better, to go for entrepreneurship or wait on a job opportunity? Considering the famine at hand, should you look for a mortgage? Should you look for a mortgage or remain a renter? I guess two different questions.
Okay. Good. Good question. Same vein of thought, right?
Look, everybody like, I had that same question.
Right.
I'm so glad you asked.
That's good. That's good. That's a good question. So the first part, let's deal with the first part. It says, this truth, which is, yeah, thank you. that probably wasn't right.
All right. Question number one. In this truth, which is better, to go for entrepreneurship or to wait for a job opportunity?
Right. So let's deal with what we just was talking about here in this other question. Scripture say pray without ceasing. Right. So let's get James chapter 2. Faith. I'm sorry.
The book of James chapter 2 verse 17. Even so faith, if it hath not works, is dead, being alone. All
right. So what we pray for, we must exhibit faith. We have to believe when we pray, right? That's what makes it fervent. You wasting your time if you don't believe what you're praying for, right? So it says, but that without works is dead. It's of no value at all. You're wasting your time, right? So with that, our job and the reason why we're here, our actual let's get that. Our actual profession, our actual vocation is to wake up the 12 tribes of Israel. That's who we are. That's what we do. That's what our job is, right? Why we work at all is for the chief things in life. And we'll get that next. All right. But a lot of us get caught up in, again, we get caught up in the status quo of this present society. This present society. Now, I'm not saying if you have a 9 to 5, right, and you're not an entrepreneur, that you're wrong. I'm not saying that. All right. But ask yourself this. Which disciple had a 9 to 5? They were all entrepreneurs. Every one of them. Why? Because Christ said, what does it say? Follow ye me.
And it says they straightway left.
Straightway left.
They didn't.
Nope. Left his equipment out. He jumped in the water. Was it Peter? Jumped in the water. Left his father's boat. Just went. Just went. What about the brother? He had to bury his mother or mother-in-law, something like that.
Right. Let the dead bury the dead.
Let the dead bury the dead. The Lord is not playing. The Lord is not playing. We taught to take light of this. He's not playing. Right? But go ahead. Read that.
The book of Hebrews, chapter 10, verse 23. Let us hold fast the profession of our faith.
The profession of our faith. What is our faith? That we're going to be redeemed. We're going to get eternal life. But the works of that faith is what? We have to wake up the 12 tribes of Israel. That's the works of that faith, which is our profession. That is our profession. That's our profession. Let's get Sirach chapter 29. Is that what I want? Yeah. No, 38:29. No, 38:29. Yes, sir. All right. So the only reason why we ought to be working at all is for the chief things in life. If you're up in here, chief things in life. All right. Get what you got to do for this mission. Make the money you got to make for this mission, for this. Right? For this. Waking up to getting the hell up out of here. All right. Not maintaining the state of this world. Get that first.
Yes, sir. The book of Sirach, chapter 38, Verse 34.
Come on.
But they will maintain the state of the world.
That's talking about those brothers and sisters who work for somebody. And I'm not talking about that's entirely those who work for somebody, but this is talking about somebody whose whole mindset, whose entire agenda for money, concept of money and wealth and all of that is to maintain, to do that job and to do that work, not do the work so that they can do this work. When it's the opposite, they do that work so they can do that work. They're maintaining the state of this world, this society. Go ahead.
And all their desire,
all they want, everything they hope and they faith and they trust and their works. Go ahead.
is in the work of their craft.
It's in their job. It's in their job. But wait a minute. Don't everybody, man, I can't stand this place. I hate this place. Don't everybody say that about their job? What they call it? Water cooler talk. Printer talk. Ain't that what they call it? Is that what it's called? Water cooler talk.
But Cat, look, as soon as they get to the school, the first thing they want to talk about is work.
You see that? On the Sabbath day, where God gave you what from work? Rest from work. Rest from work. Go ahead. But it says all their desire.
Right.
All their desire is in the craft of their hand. Go ahead.
The book of Sirach, chapter 38, verse 24. The wisdom of a learned man cometh by opportunity of leisure.
You're not going to know nothing if everything you do is like me myself. I just can't sit still. I can't do it. I have to be doing, my brain have to be doing something. I have to be building. I have to be figuring something out. I have to be doing something. I have to, right? And I have to mitigate that. I have to control that and allot that time, which can be leisure, to study. Because this world will put a lot before you, a lot in front of you, and you'll forget to study. You'll forget to correct the things within yourself that are lacking. You'll forget that. You'll forget to correct your children that needs this. Okay, this is what I got to work on him with. This is what I got to work on her with. You'll forget to deal with your wife. This is what I got to correct her with. This is where I got to help her at. Build her. You forget those things. Come on.
And he that hath little business shall become wise.
Shall become wise. So this now changes the frame, changes the narrative of how the concept of how we look at work. How we allow ourselves, man, I got a good job. That kind of distorts that thought. That kind of distorts that thought. And tell me what I got a good job is, the difference between that and you a good slave. What's the difference? Please explain to me the difference. Now, again, I'm just talking about the concept or the thought, how we look at our relationship with work and our relationship with leisure, right? Come on.
Verse 25. How can he get wisdom?
How? Come on.
That holdeth the plow.
Right. So the Bible is saying, you know how Christians be like, the Lord just spoke to me. I don't need the Bible. I'm spiritual. I don't need the Bible. The Lord just brought it to me and I know it now. And that's witchcraft. That's fairy tale. That's la la land. That is not how that work. And sometimes that's what people in purple and gold be thinking. That it's just going to happen. It's just going to come to you. Wisdom and experience and knowledge is just going to happen. Just wear purple enough Saturdays and you'll be okay. A lot of it don't work like that.
That's like osmosis.
Right. Ain't no osmosis in the scriptures. Hocus pocus and osmosis. It don't exist. It's fairy tale. Go ahead.
How can he get wisdom that holdeth the plow and that glorieth in the gold?
And that glorieth in the gold, meaning glory in the work. In the work. Glory in it. Whole life is designed and set up and arranged around that. Come on.
That driveth oxen and is occupied in their labors.
And is occupied in their labors, meaning that's where all your time, devotion, spirit, faith, hope, joy, sorrow, pity, happiness, everything is around and surrounded by work.
Hey, Cap, so that's the brother that you say, hey, bro, look, we got this, that going on this day. And their response is, I ain't gonna be able to make it because I gotta work.
Let me think. What I gotta do? That whole thought is,
I gotta work.
I gotta work. I gotta look. My man put his. I was gonna say his name on the mic. I want to put you out there, bro. It was like. Hey, if the shoe fit, get hit in the head with it, man. Go ahead.
And is occupied in their labors, and whose talk is of bullocks.
And whose talk is of bullocks. Go ahead.
He giveth his mind to make furrows, and is diligent to give the kind fodder.
So the wisdom and understanding that he's supposed to be getting from the Lord, all that time, effort, drive, spirit is going into labor.
Or the white man.
Or the white man. Go ahead.
So every carpenter and workmaster that laboreth night and day.
Them good jobs. Them good jobs. That was one of the first fields I was trained in, carpentry. I was first trained. I loved doing that. It was hard, but I loved it. You would make things. Then somebody said Jesus was a carpenter. I said, God, I'm in the right place. All of hot glory. Right? All of that is nonsense in this present world. All of that stuff. And I was sure enough proud of that skill that I have and had when I first got it. Especially, I did a college, right? Called Wayne State University. If you're from Michigan, it's a very prestigious college in Detroit, downtown Detroit, right? It's called Wayne. You can look it up. I did their law library. It's all wood, the entire building. I did the whole thing. Took 3 years to complete, right? By hand and chisel. I'm talking about like we in 2000 so or 1900 something BC, not 80. You know what I mean? I put work into that stuff, right? I was so proud of it. Man, I was proud of it. I didn't want to do nothing. I didn't have time to do nothing else. I'm talking about leaving at 4 a.m., 3 a.m., talking about you trying to leave work early enough so that you can eat before you go to sleep. Who understand what I'm talking about? Like that type of labor, that type of work, right? That was killing me. That was killing me. If that was the right way, should I not do it today? Should not we all live like that? That's what the Bible is talking. We have to change the concept that we have with work and labor in this place. We should labor to bring forth the kingdom, like the scriptures say. Read on.
So every carpenter and workmaster that laboreth night and day, and they that cut and grave seals, and are diligent to make great variety, and give themselves to counterfeit imagery, and watch to finish a work. The smith also sitting by the anvil, and considering the iron work, the vapor of the fire wasted his flesh.
Right. The vapor of the fire. I'm sorry. A lot of people who deal with welding, you got to wear a mask because you get cancer from that. It deteriorates your esophagus. It dries out your organs. All the time. He weld. It's hazard in that stuff. But that was written in the Bible thousands of years ago. That was written. Watch this. Read on.
And he fighteth with the heat of the furnace.
And he fighteth with the heat of the furnace. It's miserable but for some reason, he can't quit it. Can't stop. Can't put it down. Go ahead.
The noise of the hammer and the anvil.
Bang, tearing his ears up. Destroy. He can't what? Can't hear his babies laugh or cry. Come on.
Is ever in his ears.
It's destroying his body. But he can't stop it. He cannot put it down. He cannot focus on living. So that you understand. Come on.
And his eyes look still upon the pattern of the thing that he maketh.
What's that talking about? I like how you said that, dreaming about work. That's all your focus. That's all you hypnotized by. That's all. That's your whole focus. That's your whole mindset. Now imagine if you're a welder. Your eyes will be jacked up. My uncle was been a welder. He's blind now. Blind now. I don't remember him blind, but he's blind now. Welder all his life. Go ahead.
He setteth his mind to finish his work.
Not study, not wake up his people, not learn what's going on in my own life, in my own, how and why am I myself cursed and how do I repent? No, none of that. His mind is given completely to upholding this world, who the righteous seek to see it in ashes one day. Come on.
And watcheth to polish it perfectly.
Come on.
So doth the potter sitting at his work and turning the wheel about with his feet, who is always carefully set at his work.
This thing goes on and on and on and on and on. And it's a dead end. Jump down to the chief things. This is what we should be focusing on. 29 and 19. Sirach 29 and 19. This is what we should be focusing on. This is why we should work. This should be our dynamic with work. Not to a lot of times, especially when you work with a lot of Edomites, right? When you work with Jake, they just want to put you down about everything. Nigga, you ain't better than me. But when you work with Esau, they make you feel you never gonna have a job, but they make you feel like you important. They give you promotion without pay raise, things like that. You feel good. I'm somebody in here. You go tell the rest of them what to do. They can't tell you what to do. Go ahead, Traquan. You tell all of them what to do because you know it's something about you. It's something they sitting back while you know what I'm saying. Got the brothers at your job wanting to put hands on you when they leave. You know, you done talk so much shit trying to make white man mad, make the boss happy, you know. But your whole mind. The only measure of success you will understand is the work, the workplace, your job, right? And it's all fake. Damn, Flash persistent. Go ahead.
The book of Sirach, chapter 29, verse 21. The chief thing for life.
So the purpose that we are to work, the purpose that we are to seek employment or finances or something, go ahead,
is water.
It's for water
and bread
and food
and clothing
and to cover yourself
and a house to cover shame
and something to cover you and your family's head from the weather and from issues between you two in marriage or your children's upbringing or what have you. That's the shame. All right. That's why we ought to work. That's why. So as far as where was it at? I think it was something about rent and
right. Should I get a mortgage or should I rent? Well,
I say it like this. It's not to contrast the first point. It depends on what your finances are. It's always and usually better as an investment to get a mortgage because you're working to something and not just paying into something that's never paying into you, right? That would be renting. But a mortgage, you could possibly end a mortgage. You're always going to pay taxes, but you could pay off a mortgage, all right, essentially. But you have a mortgage per month or a mortgage payment. That will come down to if your job is to become an idol for you to pay that mortgage, don't mortgage. Don't mortgage. Rent. If you understand that your rent, okay, it's a little bit cheaper. I don't know. Nowadays it's getting to where they about like tit for tat. but with renting also most of the time you have more flexibility as far as maintenance and all the other things that come along with a mortgage, right? So you got to look at it like that. You're not to be a servant for a mortgage or for rent, either one. Do what is within your means, understanding that your profession is this, not what's going to pay you now, Caesar's dollars. All right. I hope that makes sense. Go ahead.
Can I get some? Can you read something for me?
Yeah, what you got?
All right, let's go to Mark chapter 1. So we read Sirach 38. We see the example of what we not supposed to do. We ain't supposed to be glorying in the job. We ain't supposed to always be thinking about the job. We ain't supposed to come to the school talking about the job. Your mind is supposed to be occupied in prophecies and the ancients, is what Sirach said. But let's look at what the apostles. Let's look at how they move. Go to Mark chapter 1. Start at verse 16.
The book of Mark, chapter 1 In verse 16.
Read.
Now as he walked by the sea of Galilee,
Speaking of Christ, he was walking by Galilee. This is when he first began his ministry. Read.
he saw Simon and Andrew his brother casting a net into the sea, for they were fishers.
That was their profession. They were fishermen. Read.
And Jesus said unto them, Come ye after me, and I will make you to become fishers of men.
Let's see how they responded. Verse 18.
And straightway they forsook their nets and followed him.
They said, shit, man, to hell with the fishing joint, man. We rolling with Christ.
They forsook him. That means just dropped him.
Just like they ain't go ask no boss. You know, they ain't had to put in a vacation request. It says they straight up said, yo, we out. Straightway mean, yo, straight up. I'm out. I'm rolling with him. That's the type of profession that the prophets rolled in. Anytime you read Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, you ain't reading about them working, clocking in, clocking out, or not being able to go do this particular work because of
somebody gonna bring up Nehemiah though. Nehemiah was a captive. Nehemiah was a captive. He was the king's cupbearer. He was the king's cupbearer, and he got within favor of the king to do what? Be set free. He was given liberty from the king, from serving the king, to go and do what he had to do for his people. So that ain't no excuse neither. Go ahead.
Right. Exactly right. So even if you do work a job, it's still, you still want to position yourself to where you can be able to move freely. Right. So Nehemiah behaved himself wisely, and the Most High opened the door for him. The same thing with you brothers, man. Even if you got a job, your thought process is, all right, I'm trying to work the least amount as possible to provide for the chief things for life. So, you know, if I need $2,000 a month to pay all my bills, if I'm trying to make $5,000 a month, what kind of spirit am I dealing with? Covetous spirit, because I got everything I need, the chief things for life with the 2,000. Now they offering the overtime, the lust of my eyes, like, okay, yeah, I want that money. That ain't the spirit that the prophets are going to roll with, whether they captive or not. All right, keep reading, because we got one more example up there.
Verse 19. And when he had gone a little further thence,
so Christ kept walking. He saw somebody else.
he saw James, the son of Zebedee, and John, his brother, who also were in the ship mending their nets.
In a similar profession, read.
And straightway he called them, and they left their father Zebedee in the ship with the hired servants and went after him.
They said, yo, we out. We rolling with Christ. And that's the spirit that you want to pray to the Lord for. Right. Because when Christ meets you, you know what I mean? These brothers was already keeping the commandments the same way you already been keeping the commandments. But say Christ meets you in the way he calls you for a mission. You know what I mean? Captain Yawanathan going overseas, and he said, hey, I need you to roll with me. You need to be able to respond the same way that these brothers responded here. Not, somebody just passed away, or getting married next week, or I'm working on a big project at work I ain't going to be able to pull off just yet. Maybe next year when you go on your next trip, might not be next year.
Absolutely. And as you can see, a lot of us have to where we work for our parents, right? That's also no excuse. That's also no excuse. Some people, especially if your parents ain't even in the truth. And as we can see, the contrast here was John and his brother, James. Yeah, verse 19. Read that again.
Verse 19.
Uh-huh.
And when he had gone a little further thence, he saw James, the son of Zebedee, and John, his brother.
So when he saw James and John, he called James and John. Now jump down to verse 20.
Verse 20. And straightway he called them. And they left their father Zebedee in the ship with the hired servants.
So what it means straightway here, the same way Peter left his worldly profession, is the same way Christ is calling you. He's not a conversation. He's not asking you. He's straightway calling you. Come or not. That's it. That's it. And we were all straightway called. Make no mistake. Every single one of us were straightway called. Somebody asked the question last week, what does it mean? Many are called, but few are chosen. You're reading about it right now. If you're of the line of Israel, you were straightway called. Might not be chosen, but you were straightway called. It's up to you to make your calling and election sure. That's up to you. And that's whether you're going to hear his voice and go straightway, go like Peter did, or you're going to, I got to go and deal with this thing. No, I got to, not today. I ain't got time, or I'm tired, or I'm sleepy, or I'm this, or I'm that, or not today. But I promise I'm going to get right. No. You were straightway called. You were straightway called. Then somebody died for you. Yep, was brutally beaten for you. Meaning what? You were bought with the price. All right?
We used to scream black power while heroin was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission. Minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold. From Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.